Program today. South Africans take to the streets demanding the sack of President Jacob Zuma. Head of the Seleka rebel faction declares an autonomous state in his stronghold. And UNICEF says Malawi is facing a worsening food shortage. Network Africa begins right now. Hello everyone, I am Amarachi Ubani. South Africans have been on the streets today calling for President Jacob Zuma to be sacked. People seem to have lost confidence in the president after he appointed 3 finance ministers within 1 week, blaming him for the country's economic woes. Protests have gone beyond marching on the streets to social media. A number of hashtags have come up, especially the one hashtag Zuma must fall. However, the ruling African National Congress has rejected the protests and calls for Zuma to step down, saying that Zuma's decision to change the finance minister a second time had been done after consultations with top party officials, including Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa. Our ratings agency Moody's cut its outlook on South Africa's sovereign credit rating to negative from stable, citing the increased probability that economic growth will remain low for a prolonged period of time. It also said there was a growing risk of fiscal slippage from both lower growth and increasing political pressure in the country. It reaffirmed the rating itself as Baa2. Meanwhile, the rand firmed to 14.9575 against the dollar on Tuesday. Again on the day of the 1%, but still short of recapturing all the ground lost after former Finance Minister Lala Nene's shock exit. Stanley Caramba has been monitoring some of the protests in Johannesburg today. He joins us now. Stanley, thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for hearing me.
Give us a sense of what the protests were like, the ones that you covered.
The march has been held in good spirits. There was no violence, and a lot of white people than black people, though. And some supporters say they wished there were more black representation.
My apologies. It seems we do seem to have lost Stanley. We'll try to reconnect with him and get back with the conversation. I understand Stanley is back on the line. Stanley, I hope we don't lose you again. But is the recent turn in the economy the only reason that people are protesting, or is there an underlying reason that we don't know anything about?
I can confirm that the main problem or the main issue for this movement is that the president has shoot himself in the foot, and it has to do with the economy. And the movement are so equivocal that the president must go, the president must retire. They no longer have any confidence in the president's judgment, because they argue and say that if the president did not expect, or if the president did not know that the rand would plunge to low record of 6 cents to a dollar, and also they say the president did not anticipate that the JSE, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, would nosedive to and make the commercial bank shares falling between 16 to 20%. And interestingly, I can tell you that of yesterday, the rating firm Moody's has cut South Africa's rating outlook to negative.
And of course, all this falls back on President Jacob Zuma. They feel it's because South Africa's not had a stable finance minister. But we've heard from the people who are on the streets and those on social media. What about the country's parliament? Do they still have confidence in Jacob Zuma?
Some people still have confidence in the President Zuma, especially his ANC supporters. They still have confidence. But I can tell you also, many people are no longer having confidence in the President. The ANC has denounced the Zuma must fall marches around the country, saying it is against the spirit of reconciliation. I think you might be aware that today is the holiday in South Africa. It's a reconciliation day. So one of the ANC supporters or officials say that while there is commitment to reconcile and move on, we still have a minority that is moving away from that objectivity. So meaning to say that they are supporting President Zuma. And interestingly, President Zuma himself also said that people tend to exaggerate the problems in the country. Yet those are the very people who want to come and stay in South Africa.
And as you rightly pointed out, the ANC is standing behind President Jacob Zuma. Could this be because they're afraid of him being impeached and then losing that hold on power?
Well, I don't know if I hear your question correctly, but from this side, I think I can tell you that I cannot confirm what exactly happened to other countries like Lesotho or Botswana, but generally in the country, let me tell you that the South Africa's business confidence index fell to its lowest in 22 years in September. What does this mean? It means that people in business no longer have that confidence because companies in South Africa are worried about the issues in the country, the domestic issues, and also the global issues. I can confirm that the business confidence index that of September slide to 81.6 from 84.3. What does it mean? It means that people are no longer having confidence in the government. People are no longer having confidence in their business.
Stanley, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having me. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Stanley Caramba, a freelance journalist, he was at some of the protests today in Johannesburg. And when we come back after the break here on Network Africa, the crisis in the Central African Republic deepens as a leader of the Seleka rebels declares the Republic of Legon in the northeast. Please stay with us.